I'm Amy Dolan, and this is the Feeding People podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Feeding People. I'm Amy Dolan, your host, here at the table for another great episode. As always, thank you for listening to our show each week. It means so much that you join us at the table and you listen. And thank you always for sharing your feedback and rating and reviewing and subscribing to our show. It helps us so much as we're getting going in the second season. As always, you can listen to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Play. And as always, we're just grateful and thankful that you listen and that you join us and that you are continually thinking about how you are being fed and how you can feed people. So we're here at the table tonight with the lovely Zuri Thompson. Hi, Zuri.
Hello.
You are looking great. I already told you I love that top and your jeans.
And I told you I love your top.
Oh, thank you. Too bad y'all can't see. We're looking good tonight.
We are.
I'm so thankful that you're here. This is really, really great to have you on the show tonight. We met, we're new friends, which is great. Our mutual friend, Rich Havard, introduced us. And I always say the best people know the best people. And like Rich is one of the best people. And so whenever he says you need to meet, I'm like, you don't even need to finish that sentence. I will meet like whoever you tell me to meet. And he was, of course, right about you. And so we met recently. We had a really great phone call, which you just told me you were getting your hair done during our phone call, which I never would have known.
My hair was being braided. I think I was on hour 2 of 10.
10 hours. Wow. Well, I couldn't even tell you. I felt like you were on the podcast in that moment. You were like giving me all your wisdom and brilliance and beauty. And so I can't believe you were getting your hair done at the same time. And then we met up recently for coffee, which was great. And I was just like, oh my gosh, everyone needs to know Zuri and hear all of her brilliance. So
you're so sweet.
Here you are.
So sweet.
And your partner, Jeremy, is here tonight too. What do you think about him?
He's a partner. He's amazing. He would not be here if...
I love that he's a partner. This is so much there.
He is the best partner for me, honestly. 110%.
That's nice.
200%.
Oh, 200%. Yes. I love that. Well, y'all are great together. It's fun to see all of your energy and love, and I'm glad that you came together tonight. My partner is here also.
He is.
Kelly Dolan on the headphones.
He is just as lovely.
Thank you. Is that what you say, on the headphones? No. I'll get this right one of these days. He's wearing headphones. Everyone knows that. Okay, so it's going to be a lot of laughing and fun tonight. Zuri, how would you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Zuri Thompson. I am a native Chicagoan. I'm still learning the city, honestly, especially when it comes to food. I grew up in Hyde Park. My mom was very good at getting us involved in different activities around the city. So I was familiar with different areas growing up, but Chicago is changing so much that I'm always being introduced to new areas. But I am extremely passionate about food. And it's something that I didn't necessarily grow up knowing that. But as the signs came to me, I embraced them. And here I am.
So I love that. How did you discover your passion for food? Where did that come from?
So I love to eat. In high school, right. In high school, my girlfriends and I, we had jobs. So we would go to school, go to work, either after school or on the weekends. And so we had our own money. So we didn't have to ask our parents for money.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we also loved to eat out. And our restaurant in high school, so our high school was here in the South Loop. Yeah. We went to Jones College Prep. our restaurant was Bennigan's.
Okay. Yes.
So we loved going to Bennigan's.
Where was there? Is it still there?
No.
Where was it?
No. It's actually a Walgreens now, right across from the Art Institute.
Oh.
So on Adams and Michigan, right on the corner.
Okay. I think I remember that. Right.
There were a couple. I think there was another one down on Lake in Michigan. Okay. But that was our
That was your Bennigan's.
Yes. It started there. It started where I love to eat. And then I wanted to cook more. And so incorporating some things that like I saw my mom do and flavors that I tasted, like I would try things. A lot of them were disasters to begin with. Just learning how to cook chicken, how to season things, how to fry things. But it started there. And then in college, I worked at a nonprofit down in the Bronzeville area. And so I started as an intern, then went to intern supervisor. And then I think my second or third year there, the organization was going to start a farmer's market. And so they needed someone, they had hired consultants and stuff to put the market together, but they needed someone to actually run the market every week. And so I was there and I was gullible enough to say, of course I can do that. So I started managing a farmer's market. I think I was 20 or 21.
Wow.
And at that time I had a part-time job at, it started as an internship in the marketing department at the James Hotel. And I got the internship because I applied to be a hostess or a server in the restaurant. And I put down that I was in school for marketing.
Wow.
And so the marketing manager saw that and he was looking for an intern. And so they called me in to interview to be a marketing intern. And so that was an unpaid position, but I still needed money. In those days, the holy grail was getting a serving job. Yes. Me and my girlfriends are like, you have to have a job where you serve because you get tips and you're rich. Okay. So I applied or I got a second interview to be a hostess. And so I got that. So I would manage the farmer's market during the day and then on Saturday mornings. And then that night I would get guzzied up and go host at the steakhouse. And then later I became a cocktail server.
Wow.
So that was really my first kind of introduction to like food on a community level, just seeing the people who shop at the market, the seniors that came, rain or shine, working on different initiatives to try and get the community to come out because this was an area where there hadn't been a market for 20 plus years. There was not at that time a grocery store really in a convenient location for most residents to access. And so I was doing that in the mornings. And then at night, I'm watching people spend $500 on a dinner.
Wow.
And so I'm like, man, this is interesting. You know, if nothing else, this is really interesting where we're really trying to figure out a way to educate the community about eating well and trying things. Some things didn't work. The attendance some weeks was great, some weeks it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then just seeing a very popular restaurant that is packed, you know, I think that was like the kind of first like bite.
Exactly right. Those two things right next to each other, right? Trying to make sure everyone has food and then watching people spend a lot of money on food and probably watch the restaurant waste food at the same time. So where did you go from there? Like what, I mean, obviously like that caused a passion or like some sort of like fire in you, right? So what did you do with that?
Well, I mean, of course, sitting here 10 plus years removed, I wish I kind of knew what was happening.
Of course. You're 20.
I can see what was happening now, but then I had no idea.
Right.
I was just, I mean, I wanted to have a career. I wanted to have my own apartment, you know, make a certain amount of money. So I didn't necessarily know, but just the way that my mother has always been as far as like being involved in the community on committees and things, that was always kind of in me as far as like being involved in the community and giving back. So after that, I actually worked with the manager from that hotel for his startup, his agency startup. So I completely just kind of left that and did that, working with some clients, and we had some awesome clients. It was very clear to me that that was not the life for me. Yeah. Like, to be really stressed out, dealing with tens of thousands of dollars per month being spent.
Oh my gosh.
To sell clothes and I was just like, I can't be stressed out over this. Yeah. When I know that there are people that aren't even eating.
Right. Yes.
Just basic. Yes. You know, foods. Yeah. Fresh foods. So I left that to start up my own program. Right.
I mean, let's go. The people need to know, like.
I hesitate because I was so young. I didn't have any money.
Who cares?
You know, no. But I was
I'm gonna say what you did. Yes.
I'm going to start a program to like help seniors.
Yes.
Because that was the standout for me. So seniors were the standout at the market. They were there rain or shine. There were the same seniors that came every week. Yes. Knew them by name. And there were quite a few senior buildings in that area. And so that was my first focus, was going into senior buildings, seeing how they access fruits and vegetables, because my thought, we're only a market maybe 6 months out of the year. We did not have a winter market. Yeah. So where are you getting fruits and vegetables during those off months? Yeah. So that's what my first step.
So you had your own company.
Well, so my mom has a nonprofit. And so I was able to work part-time for her on some of her programs, and then do like a startup program for seniors. And her nonprofit, one of the populations that she served were seniors. Yeah. And so, I started that. I wrote some grants. I got involved on a committee at the American Heart Association. At that time, they were doing a program where they went into senior buildings to do blood pressure checks every 2 weeks. It was just perfect kind of timing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, I can come in and I can research what foods help with blood pressure, and I can bring in those foods. So I would come in with my juicer, with my blender. I
bet they loved you. They see you coming with your juicer. They're like, yeah, this is the best day.
But I didn't think that they would. Every building that I went to before, I would sit outside in my car and I'm like, they're going to hate this. Yeah. I have kale and like a green juice. Like, no one is going to want it, you know. But every single time, and I'm not exaggerating, every single time I was blown away by the response, and then also by how much they knew. Yes. We're talking about, one woman was 92 years old. She's telling me about stuff, and I'm like, please educate me, you know. And they were really responsive. One, because of the charm. And then I am addicted to sugar. So I made sure, like, I use apples and pineapples to really sweeten up the greens.
Oh, they loved it.
Right. Yeah. Right.
What did that feel like when you were literally like feeding seniors in the middle of winter with kale and apple and all this really great stuff for them? Like, just what did that feel like inside?
Magic. Yeah. I don't know how else to describe it. Like I said, I was nervous every time. Every time. Like, no, I don't know how they're going to respond to this. And even listening to the narrative that's written about this population, and I'm dealing with low income seniors in areas that, you know, aren't really looked at to do new things, and, you know, do different things. Every time I was blown away by the response. And I learned things. Yeah. Like I said, like, some people would stand up and say, hey, I grew up on a farm. Yeah. Okay. So I know about sweet potatoes, and I know about kale and, you know, and everything. And it was building community among the seniors, that they were coming out just to, you know, do a blood pressure screening. And this was like a bonus. And then it became something that they look forward to. And at the end of like I think we did maybe like a 12-week
Wow.
period. There was like a graduation.
Oh my gosh.
And they would call me the juice lady.
Yes.
But the first time, I actually have a picture of this on my Instagram. The very first time I went into a building, I was like, there's a reason. My nickname, one of my uncles when I was growing up called me grandma because I was like an old lady. Okay. And I was like, there's a reason for that because I just connect with, you know, that population.
This is so beautiful, Zuri. I love this so much. And it was like something so special you created and that something that you did. And it makes me think about, of course, like how forgotten seniors are in our culture, right? Like in our community, they're just so forgotten and they're so lovely and wonderful and have so much love and wisdom to offer. Makes me think about like, even like something simple people can do every day is, you know, if you are going to visit someone, bring like a little basket of apples with you and share them with the seniors who are there, right? Or when you go to visit your grandma, like bring your juicer. I don't know. Anybody could do that, right? And the joy that would bring, not only for you as you brought it, but for the people there. That feels like something I've never thought about before and something that we all could do.
My thing when I first started this work with the senior population was we're all headed there.
Right.
You know,
right.
God willing.
Yes.
That's where we're going.
Yeah.
Why don't we kind of invest in that and not just, you know, literal, you know, monetary investments, but just love, you know, and creating and in other cultures, they do a better job of taking care of the aging population than we do here.
Yeah.
But if you really are able to slow down and just take the time, and I really don't feel like I did that much. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't there every single day. Every month of the year, but just a little bit. I see seniors now because I live close to one of the buildings that I worked in, and there was a man walking, and I was like, I turned around and I was like, did you used to come down I used to come in the building and juice. And he was like, yeah, I've been looking for your car. You know, I walked past, you know, I thought, that's my mom's car, you know, but I'm still there. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, wow, they feel great. I feel like $1 trillion, you know, it's just all around. Just beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Oh, I love this. Okay. So where did you go from there? Like as you fed the seniors, as you juiced their kale, like what did you do next? How did the passion of food just keep growing in you?
Yeah. So, I mean, at that point it was like, okay, this is in me. Yeah. You know, I didn't know what it looked like as far as just like long-term career. And I was working on other nonprofit programs. So I worked with rehousing homeless veterans through a VA program. What I was able to do was anything that I worked on, I tried to incorporate the nutrition aspect to it. So I was in a shared living housing space for male veterans, and I brought my juicer and some kale and apples.
Love this. Okay. Have juicer, we'll travel.
Seriously. So it's like, okay, so that's where it, like, my understanding of this isn't just seniors. This isn't just low income seniors in these specific communities. This is kind of an everybody thing. So that was the first time I started to think about other populations that could benefit.
So what'd you do?
So I would ask people, would you be interested in me somehow incorporating, you know, nutrition or food into this conversation. So with the veterans program, I went to other programs that were serving veterans to talk about nutrition and juice and things like that. For our program in-house, I would talk about it. I started receiving food donations. And so I set up a pantry in the church that we were housed in. had canned goods, had fresh things.
I love it.
Just any way to kind of keep it going, just depending on what I was working on.
Yeah.
But still keeping that kind of passion fueled.
I love that. I went to a conference a couple weeks ago, and I was listening to a speaker, a pastor in Baltimore, who talks about, he runs the Black Church Food Security Network. It's amazing. He helps churches use land that's near them to start growing food in order to feed their congregations and all their community. It's the most beautiful thing ever. And he was talking about how the people who own the land and produce their own food are the people in power. And that's what he's trying to do for his Black community. And I love that. And it's just like something in what you just said reminded me of that, like something about getting people the food that they need and giving them the power that they need, right? Did you ever like see that or feel that?
For me, and I don't know if it's just because it's my passion, food, but that is the starting point.
Right.
No matter kind of what issue you're dealing with, to me, I always kind of start with, well, what are you eating?
Yes.
You know, and not just, I've been in different conversations with people that are about, you know, organic this and vegan this and that. And I'm kind of like, I've worked with populations of people that don't have anything.
Right.
So let's start with getting something.
Yeah.
And then from there, we can try and doctor up. I mean, if your only access to food is food pantry food,
right,
then that's where we're starting.
Right.
You know, and how can we kind of doctor these things up and incorporate something that's more nutritious, and everybody's not thinking, some people are literally just eating just to survive, so they're not you know, making these extravagant meals, but yeah, let's get food to everyone.
Yes. Right.
Please.
Please, let's do it. So what does food mean? I'm loving this conversation so much. What does food mean to you when you think about food as power or equality, an opportunity for equality or justice? Like, what does that mean to you?
I mean, to me, it just seems so simple, you know, just as far as everybody being deserving of food. Yeah. It's confusing to me that there are areas where there aren't just the basic access to healthy foods. Yes. We need food to survive as human beings. Yeah. So for people to not have it, and there not to be access to it, and those that have the power to make it available to everyone, for that not to be happening everywhere. Yes. It feels like an attack. Absolutely. Right? Intentional and an attack. This pastor I heard speak called it food apartheid. Right. And when I've worked on some programs, and I don't know what I can and cannot say about some government programs where I'm thinking, okay, we're the United States. We have access to the most brilliant minds anywhere. Yeah. We can recruit. We can pay what needs to be paid to recruit. And this is the program that you came up with? This is the system that's been designed? No. We're smarter than that. We are smarter than that. And the thing is, like, we are smarter than that, but that's why it feels intentional. Exactly. Because people aren't that stupid. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Although my father, you know, my father always talks about most conspiracies aren't. It's really just people just not thinking. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so people talk about food justice a lot, and this is like a new concept to me that I love so much. I'm just starting to learn about how to, there's so much food injustice, especially in our city, of course. So you do work in food justice. How would you describe that? What does that mean? Just thinking about the work that I do is just making sure that everyone's fed. Yeah. And those that have a lot, different restaurants, grocery stores that are discarding a lot. Yes. How can we rescue some of that and move it to those that don't have?
I mean, it's so simple when you say it,
right,
Zuri.
right.
It's so simple.
Yeah. But just having done the amount of work that I've done and talking to other people that have done work, it surprisingly turns out to be very complicated.
Yes.
But the complication from what I've seen comes in is that it's people like me that just really care, that are trying to get something done, but don't have, I don't have extensive refrigerator space.
Sure.
You know, I don't have a commercial kitchen. I don't have
the coordination of it. Who's going to go pick up the excess from the restaurant, get it to the people.
Exactly. Yeah. That's really where kind of the complication comes in.
Yeah. So we just need to figure out a van. I don't know. Right. No, it is. It shouldn't be that complicated, but it's like the logistics and the coordination and the amount of waste, right, is almost too much to handle for me sometimes. Like, I'm very mindful of how much food I'm wasting. And then when I'm at a restaurant and I can just see it all around me, it's a lot to handle. And so do you have any advice for just like us normal people, like how do we waste less, or how do we make sure, like, if we have excess, we're getting it to people who need? Like, how do we just do that in our lives?
Just to answer the second part, there are some really good systems that are in place. Yeah. Finding out what those are. For example, my last position, I was working coordinating the efforts of a food partner network in Logan Square, Humboldt Park neighborhood. And one of the food pantry managers talked about the post office food donation. And so the post office collects canned goods and then they give it to a food pantry. And so this particular year that she references all the time, she got truckloads of food because she was the designated recipient in that neighborhood. Yeah. And so her entire storefront location was filled with food, and she's like, oh my God, what am I going to do, with all this food? And so she was able to reach out to the other partners in this network to come and pick it up and distribute it to their people in need. Wow. Before she said that, I wasn't aware of this effort being made by the post office, but this year, probably about a month before I was moving, I opened up my mailbox and there's this like little postcard from the post office talking about, hey, we're going to be collecting non-perishables. Just leave it out by your doorstep or your mailbox and we'll pick it up. And so I put all the canned stuff in a bag, left it by my mailbox, and the post office picked it up. Wow. So to answer your question, paying attention to little things like that. Yes. Maybe doing a little bit of research to see what is out there that you can that easily fits into what your life is. Yes. Right. And then just as far as like just waste at home, I mean, that's something I tackle with. I think the reason why I was a good fit for the South Loop community table was because historically I over purchase, I overcook. People are like, who are you feeding? So when it came to prepare meals for 100 people, I'm like, oh, no problem. I do this. I don't feed 100 people at home, but I cook like I do. So I can do this. Right. And so it's really just been recently where I have really been able to get much better at calculating like, okay, how much pasta do I actually need to cook? Right. Yeah.
My eyes are always bigger than my stomach. Yes. And so even like if I'm starving hungry, I'm going to get like the biggest plate of whatever. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I feel like that's just even one tweak I've made for myself is like start smaller. Yes. And then if you're still hungry, you can get more. Yes. Right. But I always think like, no, I need the biggest plate possible when I eat. Yes. No, you don't. Right. So, okay, so food justice, food rescue, I love this. Like, what, do you see hope, Zuri? Sometimes.
Now I'm getting flashbacks from our initial conversation. Now I'm remembering.
No, you're like, right, I remember her. I I'm like very idealistic. I'm very enthusiastic, but the opposite side of that is like I can see the problems. And so I feel hopeless and overwhelmed quickly, especially like when it comes, because I feel like my deepest passion is feeding people. And it's insane to me that we have hungry people. Like that's not, I read a statistic recently that there are 7 billion people in the world and there are enough calories being produced in food to feed 9 billion people.
Right. I believe it. Yeah.
So wait, what? We have 2 billion in excessive calories, and yet we have so many people who are physically hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I'm not okay with that. I'm going to spend my life doing whatever's in front of me to change that. But also it's very overwhelming. So well, first of all, is there hope? Will there one day not be hungry people? Will the world be fair and made right? Zuri, please. But like more than that, like where do you see hope? If you see hope, like where are pockets of hope that you see?
Well, I deal with anxiety on a big level. So I hear that in what you just communicated. And the way out of a dark spot for me is saying, okay, what can I do?
Yes.
And what gives me hope, what lets me know that there is absolutely hope, is seeing other people like you that are doing something and knowing what I'm doing and starting there. Because I think if you look at it as what the world is not doing, what someone else is not doing, then there's no end to this spiral down this dark hole.
I'm paralyzed.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? But if it's like, okay, I can do this, so I'm going to do this. And I at least know that this effort is being made and these people that are being affected by this effort are being taken care of.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
That's all you can do. I love that because that is how we're going to solve the world's problems, each of us doing our parts.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Did you just come up with that? That is brilliant.
You know, I have had a couple of glasses of rosé.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
It's true,
it's
right?
True.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm at an age now where like all the cliches that you hear,
I know,
prove to be true, and it's so annoying. It's irritating.
So annoying. It's like no,
it's like, stop.
My mom was not right.
Exactly.
She was totally right.
Exactly. But I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Because again, you will be paralyzed to not do anything if you look at just like large scale what somebody else is not doing.
Yes.
And then also, just to play devil's advocate here, I've done work where I have gone above and beyond. I'm picking up food, I'm carrying it up 3 flights of stairs, I'm preparing it, I'm doing this and that. And then the people who I think I'm taking care of don't respond to it in the way. And so I've put forth all this effort and it's not received in the way that I think it should be.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then I have to take a step back and say, okay, what most naturally is flowing out of me to address this, right?
Ooh.
You got to check that ego all the time, right?
Yeah.
What is the most natural expression in response to this issue? Not what I think somebody else should be doing.
Yes.
Well, how I think somebody that I'm saving should respond to this.
Yes.
Right?
What I've seen other people do before.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Let me take that out of it and just do.
Yes.
And it will land where it's supposed to land.
Oh my gosh. Who's the preacher now?
Listen.
This is the Reverend.
Listen.
The Reverend. Jeremy, you hearing this? This is Reverend Zuri over here.
My faith has been tested and strengthened yesterday.
Yes.
I did not think it was that strong.
No.
But I'm here with you.
I mean, it was Wednesday.
Okay.
When is faith ever strong on a Wednesday? Never.
Right.
Yes. So what is it for you right now? Like, what is naturally flowing out of you right now? And like, what is the work only for Zuri right now to solve these problems?
Right now, it is feeding my family
Yes.
and friends.
Yes.
That is what I can commit to.
Yes.
What pulls me out of any funk, and I mean the deepest
Yes.
funks, making sure that the people that I love are fed. It just brings me a joy. And I can I can share this. I just left the 2 Under 2 club. So my oldest turned 2 in April, and I have my youngest will be 6 months on Sunday. And I have been experiencing some postpartum mood, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Every which way.
Yes.
But food brings me to present. It brings me a joy to prepare food. I have a partner named Jeremy. And it's a real partnership. Yeah. So we are really seeing each other every day, and we're in this really difficult space. But I know how much I love and care about him and my family because I'm so inspired to feed them. If nothing else, if I'm not even speaking, it's like I have to blacken this salmon. I have to bake this chicken, and it just brings me peace. So that is currently where I am. My thoughts about just 6 months from now, I'm thinking about feeding more friends, and then also working as a postpartum doula.
Oh, I love this.
To feed new moms and their families.
I remember when you shared this idea with me at coffee, and I was like, just do this. I was like, please do this ASAP. But I mean, when you're ready.
Right. Exactly. You did add that.
It's such a great idea. I love what you said about the work that's in front of you right now is to feed your family and friends. Like, that is such big, important work. And we often forget, with all the hungry people in the world and all the good, important work to do that and ourselves, right? If we can't feed ourselves or our friends and family, our most loved ones, then how are we ever gonna feed everyone, really? I really appreciate that you said that.
Yeah. Jeremy and I were in a therapy session, a couples therapy session, and we were talking about our different love languages. And I know mine is like acts of service. And we were laughing because I'm like, what do you mean? I made you this beautiful meal.
Yeah, right.
That is like the biggest exploration of love for me. And he's like, well, I mean, I would have eaten, and then he was able to admit, well, it probably would have paled in comparison to what you gave me. Right? Yeah. I mean, again, just like when I was going into the senior buildings, and I'm always like just astonished that people like receive me well when people come over and I make something and they receive it with the love that I put into it. I'm like, what is this magical universe that we're living in?
Oh my gosh.
How is that translated? But it is.
Right. Oh, you're so beautiful. All of this is so lovely. Now, I want to talk for a minute about these like parties that you have at your house. Okay. Please describe, and also how do I get invited?
All are welcome. We just moved, so you will be partying around boxes of stuff. I mean, Jeremy and I love to entertain. And I love to cook. He loves to make drinks and play music. It's just natural for us. So now any excuse to gather, we tried to have a really small gathering for our daughter's 2nd birthday. And we were like, oh, we'll just bake some chicken and have a delicious caramel cake from Brown Sugar Bakery on 75th Street, please. Okay. And we'll have just immediate, like 8 people tops.
Okay.
It turned into like a bash on a Thursday night. Beautiful, lovely. We cannot help it. It just happened. Yeah. It just happened.
That's like your energy.
Right.
Everyone here There's some caramel. What was it? Caramel cake?
Yes.
There's caramel cake and chicken and music. We're going over there. I love it. Don't you want to be known for that? I want to be known for that. Like when you get invited to my house, I want people to be like, we're going.
Yes, we're going. Yeah, well, you and I are going to do.
Yes, we are.
A series, like a meal series.
We're doing a whole thing, everyone. You heard it here first.
Yes. Well, I mean, I share with you wanting to do like hopping around different neighborhoods.
It's such a great idea.
People's homes and inviting people over and just bringing this energy to different communities.
We're free next week.
Yes. Okay.
Let's go. Absolutely. Okay, this has been so awesome. I want to finish up. What's your favorite cocktail? Let's start with that.
Probably the last few years. So I haven't been drinking a lot lately, but when I was, super into Hendrix gin.
Oh,
that with either cucumber or ginger. Yes.
Yum. Ginger in anything, any cocktail, right?
Yeah.
Yum.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love this. What's your drink, Jeremy? Margarita.
For most of my time, and now it's wild turkey, American honey with simply lemon.
Love.
That's a bourbon, right? Yeah. It's like a honey bourbon.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. Yeah. Where must people eat in Chicago? Like, in your opinion, if you come to visit Chicago, like what can't you miss? What's the best restaurant?
I mean, I definitely can't do one.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Au Cheval.
Au Cheval.
Sure. Absolutely. For sure. El Patron. Tacos, Jamaican Gates.
Ooh,
for some jerk.
Okay, where's that? I've never been there.
So they're pretty far south. They're like 102nd and Halsted, but they're about to open up another location in Bronzeville.
Okay,
delicious
jerk, chicken, jerk, everything.
Yeah, and then I really love Tempesta Market.
It's so good. Right.
I mean, the first time I went 3 times in the first week.
I feel like we maybe did too. And then I like overdosed. I was like, we need a break.
I was blown away.
It's so
and
good.
I'm like, I'm eating a sandwich and like
in a little
pasta salad
on little benches in a little restaurant.
But again, what you put into it, people receive that.
It's quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Those are all great meals. So, Zuri, this has been so lovely. Thanks so much for being here with me. Let's finish the show with a final piece of wisdom or some guidance for people as they're thinking about food, as they're thinking about feeding their families. What would you like to say?
And I said this to you earlier, just about me making the connection recently, just about how food makes me feel. And that's like that aha moment Oprah talks about, as far as understanding like what your passions are. And just bringing that back to food. If that's not you in particular, I'm sure it is somebody in your family, and just kind of tap into that. Or if it's nobody, but you love eating McDonald's, make something around that, make it a moment. Yeah. Make it a shareable moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Zuri, so much. This was so lovely.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Jeremy.